Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. I want to talk a little bit about the life of Siegfried and Roy, particularly um Siegfried Fischbach, who passed away 2 weeks ago as a result of pancreatic cancer. I did a video on this yesterday, but um I wasn't really satisfied with how the video came out, so I'm doing it again. Um um Yeah, Fischbach was a magician and a tiger performer with his partner Roy Horn, who died last year due to COVID complications. And for many years since the 1970s, they were doing these. They were two guys from Germany, and they were doing these magic shows, basically in Las Vegas. Like they wouldn't tour to other places, but they would just stay in Las Vegas, much like other acts. Like I was saying, like I said, Elvis Presley would do this. Um, Wayne Newton would do this. Acts that perform in Las Vegas just for just for the audience that goes to Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is kind of like Disney World for grown-ups. Um, it has a lot of recreations. It's known by the moniker of Sin City. It has a lot of recreations. And going back to the 1930s and 1920s and 30s, it was completely controlled by the mafia. It was run by the mafia. And that's where the Rat Pack became popular. And that's where, um, like I said, eventually Elvis became popular. Later, now Celine Dion does this. Madonna has performed at Vegas, and Siegfried and Roy were two of two of the staple acts in Vegas. Vegas is a very interesting city because when it was founded as a city, well, it was founded um, in the 1500s by the Spanish. The etymology of the name Las Vegas means the meadows. But after that, and after the independence of Mexico in 1810, um, just like with the rest of the Southwest, the Spanish kind of, um, abandoned the Spanish, and later the Mexicans kind of abandoned, it. So when the Mormons started to trek west, first from upstate New York to Nauvoo, Illinois, then later to Utah, they established a fort there. And in 1844, right before this was in the 1830s, and in 1844, right before the Mexican American War popped off, and Nevada territory became part of the United States as a result of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Um, uh, John C. Fremont, an explorer, explored that region, and he found gold there. So Las Vegas became a destination spot for those looking for gold in the 1840s, particularly in California, and they built a highway from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. But then, as I said, during the Prohibition era, Prohibition was an era from the 1920s to the mid 1930s, in which alcohol was banned from the entire United States as a result of the 18th Amendment. So New York and Chicago had become infested with these mafia people, and they couldn't uh, The mafia felt like they couldn't really compete in the Northeast and the Midwest anymore, so they moved out west to Las Vegas, and they got in with the Mormons at first. These were the mafia people like Bugsy Siegel, like Marlansky, like um, Dutch Schultz, and they got in as a result of their connections with Frank Sinatra. They got in with Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, and Frank Sinatra became a staple there. And they devised a system where Frank Sinatra and the other Rat Pack members, like Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, and Jerry Lewis, would not leave Las Vegas and would just perform there. Like I said, they would stay there. So basically, what a lot of acts do, and what Elvis later did, the later Elvis, the 1970s Elvis, the fat Elvis, is different than the 1950s Elvis. 1950s Elvis is the one that was shaking his hips on the Ed Sullivan show that was causing all this controversy among conservatives. 1970s Elvis, the Viva Las Vegas Elvis, was the Elvis that was singing lounge tune songs like Welcome to My World in an Elvis jumpsuit right before he died in 77. So, following in the lead of the Rat Pack and following in the lead of Wayne Newton and following in the lead of this, these two men from Germany who started it out in New York working for the P.T. Barnum Circus eventually made it to Las Vegas and made it big with this Tiger show. Now, a lot of people say when it comes to the Tigers, using them as a showpiece and exploiting them is wrong because it goes against animal rights. This was the whole theme of the Carol Baskins documentary with Joe Exotic that everybody watched in the beginning of quarantine. Of is it ethical to have these kind of tiger shows? I mean, the tiger wasn't um, the tiger wasn't going to comply. I mean, in 2003, this tiger attacked Siegfried and Roy. You know what I mean? So it is kind. It makes me think of the movie Free Willy. In the movie Free Willy, when they're banging on the tank, Willie is becoming aggravated. He's becoming agitated. He's becoming upset. Of course he is. I mean, the poor animal is being exploited. So animal rights activists like Carol Baskins, you know, technically they're right. Guys like Siegfried and Roy are complete assholes because they are exploiting these exotic wild animals that don't deserve to be in cages like this. They deserve to be in their natural habitats, don't they? You know what I mean? That's just my thinking. It's like it's one thing, lounge music, Wayne Newton, Elvis, but these animals, come on, these animals are innocent animals that are being exploited. WWF should be all over this. And yes, I'm talking about the real WWF, not the WWF, the wrestling. WWF, the World Wildlife Fund. They should be all over this, canceling these people because certain tigers, like the Bengal tiger, are endangered species in the world. They're endangered exotic species, and they don't deserve to be exploited by people like um, uh, Siegfried Fischbach. So rest in peace to Siegfried Fischbach, and I guess thank you for all this entertainment. But keep that in mind when you go to shows like this, circuses like this, even Barnum and Bailey, how these animals are being treated, how these animals are being exploited, how these animals are being tortured, for your entertainment. When you go to shows like this, these are beautiful creatures of God. They don't deserve to be exploited like this. And when they respond to their natural wild instinct and they turn around and they attack Siegfried and Roy and they kill Siegfried and Roy, they kill Joe Exotic or whatever, of course they're going to do that. Look how they're being treated. Look how they're being exploited. Wouldn't you get mad if you were exploited in such a way and treated in such a way? Not dehumanized, but defelinized. you know, you know, by people like Siegfried and Roy. It's unethical, guys. Peace. And don't forget to like and subscribe at the bottom to see more of my videos and my somewhat controversial political views on animal rights. I'm a complete animal rights activist. I believe in animal rights, and I'm against animal cruelty and the kind of cruelty that Siegfried and Roy engaged in. Totally unethical. Peace. But the history of Las Vegas, besides the animal thing, is very interesting. How this little outpost of Anasazi and Paiute culture goes from a Mormon outpost to Mormon fort, very conservative, into the mafia, into now the hands of big time corporations like MGM, which host all the boxing and UFC events. Now, some people will say, well, with the boxing and UFC, that's human exploitation, kind of like Siegfried and Roy with the Tigers. Yeah, but human beings have agency. You know what I mean? These boxers, these UFC, MMA guys, they know what they're signing up for. The tiger, the lion, the elephant, they don't know what they're signing up for. They can't consent. you know, so you can't really it's apples and oranges, guys. Anyway, peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video.